We go again, live horizontally. Nancy asked if we're no longer doing the horizontal stream. And over the last few days, we've not been doing them. And I felt like bad about that. I was like, oh man, should I have been doing the horizontal streams? I did say that it's becoming winter. Like I'm actually cold right now. And because it's winter, the sun sets earlier. And since we've been doing a little bit longer streams in the verticals, we ended up not doing horizontal streams by the time we potentially would have. But here we are again. Today's conversation has been about active listening. We shared a bunch of wisdom. We went down the rabbit hole of asking ourselves a bunch of questions. What does active listening look like? Why do we actively listen? There was a bunch of little wisdom snippets. Like one of my favorite were that when you're actively listening to someone, you're making a bet that what they have to say is valuable, right? Even if they did not end up actually portraying any value in the things they had to say, you're making a bet when you're actively listening, right? There's a certain willingness to almost like suspend your disbelief. We had conversations about how hard it can be when you're actively listening and the other person might not necessarily agree with you. Even to the contrary, they might actively say things that you actively disagree with, right? And then there was this line about understanding without condition, right? Like all of us have probably experienced and maybe not experienced, but all of us have heard about the saying of like unconditional love, right? Having some unconditional love. A parent can have unconditional love for their child or whatever, but having unconditional understanding, I feel like that's a little bit harder. Maybe not impossible, but definitely difficult, right? As a skill to learn how to. I have been very tense over the last few weeks, spiraling a little bit in all of the things that I have no power over, in so many words. I've been talking about some of these things, and I have come to the conclusion by active listening that it doesn't necessarily serve me or this community, right? It is about being heard and almost like speaking up against these injustices, right? Like the whole fractal of uh, the world is not taken or the world is not destroyed by evil men, but by good men who didn't say anything, right? And I feel like there definitely has been a part of me that's been speaking up for what's right, right? Speaking up for things to be proud of, speaking up for surviving this chapter that we're in right now, for example. There definitely has been this struggle in me to escape this churn, if you will, right? And I feel like it is definitely a part of my environment where I find myself around parents, right? I find myself around my sister, and they have certain worldviews and they have certain perspectives on what's going on, and they have feelings as well as they're paying attention to what's going on in the world. And I absorb, right, a lot of their feeling as well. I try and understand, I try and be present, I try and actively listen. But unfortunately, sometimes when we actively listen, we might end up emotionally involved, right? You might have actively listened so much that now you find yourself hurt because you heard something that you might not have been ready for. So I want to get better at actively listening and growing despite it. Hey, Nancy, the stream is just for you, and it's just me and you here. Like that's also the other thing, Nancy. Uh, like friends are no longer showing up, So whether I do like a vertical stream and a horizontal stream, like the average numbers for these horizontal streams can be like nine viewers, right? And it's not like not that those 9 people don't matter, but it's you friends either way, right? Where with the vertical streams, we're put in a different like bucket, little different bundle, and then we end up actually reaching hundreds of people during stream. They don't end up staying as long The average viewership ends up being like 3 minutes or so, but it is true. The reason I asked about the horizontal stream is because I listen and watch on my phone. It's easier to see the topic of the day when the stream is horizontal. But I understand why the vertical stream is true. Thank you. And she, like, the fact that you're asking means that you care, means that you value the space, and that's why I'm here with you for it. Like, it really is a pleasure to be able to show up with you. I hope you've not been missing it too much, right? That's the first thing my mind went is like, now I want to actively listen to you, right? That's the first thing my mind went to is like, okay, what does active listening look like with what Manshi said? And it looks like me doing one of these horizontal streams. Maybe they'll be a little bit shorter. Maybe I won't end up doing them for as long, especially these days as it gets dark when we're around this time. The sun is setting right now. I appreciate you so much, friend. I think I'll read you a poem. Maybe, maybe I'll see if there's any more value for me to extract. You know what I'll ask? I'm gonna interrupt it here. Pretend that I didn't ask the other stuff. I'll select you all, delete. Can you please summarize all of the best lines for me to share as a closing thought that we've discussed today? There's a few of them, like the one where active listening is betting that what this person is trying to share is valuable, and trying to think of one of the other lines as well. But I'm pulling up short. Please help me remember. Give me at least 5 different valuable lines as it relates to active listening and the value that it creates in our lives. Chippity chippity chip chips. Yeah, here are 5 of them. Active listening is placing a bet that what the person is trying to share is valuable. It's not just about silence, it's about faith in the speaker's word and the message inside of them. If the world suddenly became active listeners, we'd hear so much pain that we would be moved to end it right away. Listening is a revolutionary act. It breaks denial and makes compassion unavoidable. If I had nothing left to say because the world finally listened, that would be peace. It's giving me a lot of my own fractals. Something the deepest desire of a speaker is to become unnecessary because the message has finally been heard. And some deep stuff. We can't help but feel suffering of others when we truly listen because our empathy is louder than our ignorance. Woo! That's a line. That's why active listening can hurt sometimes because our empathy is larger than our ignorance. I love that. And then lastly is I believe love is true, not because it tells me so, but because when I strip everything away, it's what remains. When we listen deeply to life, we don't just find pain, we find the fundamental structure of our care. Kobe is chasing one of the kitties. Kobe, stop chasing the kitties, you silly dog. He doesn't hurt them. He's just chasing them, trying to terrorize them. Love is true. Look at us. Look at us. We've come full circle once again. We've shared some of the valuable little snippets. I thank you, friends, for being willing to actively listen to me. I'm sorry, truly, if some of the things that I've said in this space left you feeling worse when you walked away. I hope you know that was never my intention. I hope you know that I always appreciate you listening. Chat with my fern. Look at this. Another friend. Listening helps realize how little we know. It's true, chat with the fern. Chat with my fern. Hey, it's true. I actually had that as a conversation with mom today, right? Like for me, it was a matter of psychedelic experiences where, hey, don't lick my face. I have had some psychedelic experiences in my life. And before I did, right, before I had my divine moment of thought experience, let's call it, right, I was like full atheist. I believed that my brain essentially was like a firing of neurons, and that firing of neurons in its unique pattern made up who I thought I am. And when I died, the worms are going to eat me, and that's that. Right? I really did believe that that is the truth. That is all there is to it. And then I had this experience, right, that so clearly showed me that I don't know anything. Definitely don't know that there is no heaven or no hell kind of vibes, right? It showed me that the vastness of existence and the potential different experiences out there is impossible for me to fathom. And it completely transformed the way I believe, right? It completely changed what I think. And it's again, it's not a heaven and hell kind of fractal of like God is going to send you to hell. It's more a matter of there is infinity out there, right? Infinity to the point where the idealized heaven you can imagine in your mind exists. And the worst possible hell you can imagine in your mind exists. And if you live your life in a certain way, for instance, leaning away from the truth of love, right? You're leaning towards hate and hurtfulness, and you're going around just trying to steal as much from other people as you possibly can. You'll become convinced. Yeah, you'll become convinced by the end of your life that you deserve hell, and because it's infinity, because there's everything out there, you can find yourself there, right? But I believe you can only find yourself there for as long as your soul believes you deserve it. So it definitely did change me in that way. Helped me realize that I don't know what's going on, how little I know. It's not a master of it. It's not a master of it, but how. I don't exactly understand what that last sentence meant, but love is true. Little sweetie dogger, sweetie, sweetie. Little sweetie, 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 ouch. I don't know why, but he likes curling up on himself. It's not a matter of it. It's not a matter of it, but how? Still like, it's not a matter of it, but how? Yeah, like the question is no longer whether it is or not, but how we're supposed to be to continue me without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. The point where it's like the rule I'm supposed to follow in my life. And if I do, then I'll end up in heaven. Right. And it's like this matter of I'll be convinced. I'll be convinced that I am deserving of heaven at the end of my life if I ensure that love is true. Any can be done if you know how. I appreciate you for being here with me. This stream is getting close to being done. Anything can be done if you know how. It's true. There's a Stoic wisdom. Is it from Marcus Aurelius? Might be from Seneca. I'll ask to make sure to honor them. Who said the line that if it's in the power of any person, it's in your power? I believe it's a Stoic quote. I'm not exactly sure who said it though. Melt, you're deserving of heaven. I appreciate you saying that, Nanshi. I believe that too already. I do believe that, right? I believe if I had to die right now, I would I would like send myself to heaven kind of vibes, right? Like I would be like, okay, I did the best that I can with the time that I had. I loved as much as I possibly could. Let me enter this new space, right? With a sense of lightness and a heart of I tried, right? Where if I had to die right now, and the last 4 years I was playing games and right smoking copious amounts of weed and eating myself into obesity, and then I died, I wouldn't have the same conviction. So I thank you, Nanshi, for believing that and for echoing that sentiment. It's true for you too, you know, for all of you friends. All of us are deserving of heaven because we show up for love the way we do. The quote you're recalling is, if it isn't the power of any person, it is in your power. No. Marcus Aurelius? No. If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake in any thought or action, I shall gladly change. I seek the truth, which never harmed anyone. The harm is to persist in one's own self deception and ignorance. Yes, Marcus Aurelius. Jeeves, I love that guy. It's true. That is harm, to persist in one's own self deception and ignorance. That didn't really tell me the actual quote. Resonates deeply. Please check for the exact quote. I'm sure that exact quote has been said. Like, you did give me good quotes, but they're not the quote that I actually was referencing. I want that quote that basically states that if it's in the power of a person, right? If you've seen a person out in the world do something, you can do that too. I want to like add caveats, right? Like, there are people who are disabled, for example, right? If you see a marathon runner, would be unrealistic for you to be like, yeah, you can do that too. Mm, yeah, yeah, there it is. It's Marcus Aurelius. I did misquote him, but here's the quote: "Because your own strength is unequal to the task, do not assume that is beyond your powers of man. But if anything is within the powers and province of man, believe it is within your own compass also." Yeah, you can. Even you. Even you can. I appreciate you for canning with me, for actively listening. I appreciate you, Nancy Friend, and Mojo, and Mr. Fern, Mrs. Fern, Dems Ferns. I appreciate yours. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you friends again soon, tomorrow. I'll read you the poem one more time, though. Yeah, show you a flower again. Just for the sake, if there's a friend that joins only the vertical stream, they can see some arts as well. No, go back. No, stop it. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, I've been pushing it a little bit as of late with the flowers. Yesterday's was also very complex. Nope. Come on. There's yesterday's. Boom. That eye staring on the middle. All right. And the poem went as such. Still here. We're still here. We are the ones still standing in the ruins of quiet dreams and loud expectations that never made space for hearts like ours. We rise, not in wealth, but in will, measured by none, but known by the ache in our bones, and still moves us forward when the world says not yet. There is a pride in this breath, in the fact that we have not vanished, not dissolved into debt, not folded under the fear, not rewritten to fit someone else's valuation. We have burned ideas into our minds like stars onto the sky, too bright to monetize, too vast to contain. Still, they flicker beyond the grind, behind the not enough, reminding us you are more than the price they put on your time. We stay with pockets worn thin, but spirits stitched thick, with defiance, with hope, with love that refuses to be practical. It is no small thing to exist in a world that profits off your silence and still speak. It is no small thing to move when the maps are torn and the lights are out and still dream. So let them count coins. We'll count the days we didn't vanish, the nights we didn't break, the mornings we rose for more. Because being here still, with nothing promised, with everything aching, is not just survival. It's a quiet kind of victory, worth more than the world. right? The fact that you're here is worth more than the world. If you could liquidate all the gold, all the bitcoins, all the stocks, all the buildings, all the vehicles, right? Liquidate all of that, and you have a number, you are worth more than that, all right? Significantly more. And again, I believe that if that wasn't true, you wouldn't be here right now. All right. And again, if that wasn't true, then nothing would have any value at all. Right. And again, this is the last again. If everybody else suddenly disappeared and you're the only person on earth, de facto, everything is yours. Right. So, by that understanding, it's literally true. You are worth more than the world. You might not be worth more than the world to the world, but you don't have to be, because you are. I appreciate you. And I'll see you friends again soon. Tomorrow. I appreciate you for joining me. I love you. Goodbye for now.